Hello and welcome back and to another video about the construction of Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 2. That said, of course, I am at Heaton Lodge Junction Phase 1, where I am still involved in my own Trans-Pennine route upgrade. As you can see, a lot of the track has been lifted. And for those of you that have joined the channel recently, just to tell you, I'm doing that simply because I was never really that impressed with my own track lane, especially the last 30 meters of it. So it's coming up and the new stuff is going down. So what about Sunday's video? It certainly touched a few nerves. I can't believe that over, I think 25,000 people have watched it, and there was over 300 comments, or at least there is now. Most of them very supportive, so thanks ever so much for that. I think really the gist of, well, somebody put it even better than I did, in that they wish, and I wish, that model railway manufacturers would just stop preaching to the converted and try something different, and that was the gist of the video. A couple of nasty comments, which of course you're going to get if you put your head above the parapet, but you know, so be it, that's life. But moving on, today's video. So we are going to cover a bit of landscaping, because I just wanted to point out how to do a bit more ground cover. And I've had a few people asking the YouTube comments if I would go through on Phase 1 actually, the different details, how I made them, or where I bought them from, etc, etc. So I'll be doing a bit of that. But the main thing is, thanks to my good friend Dave Lowery, some of you will know is the ex-editor of Model Rail magazine, get my words out, it's too early in the morning. Yeah, he has finished the first two Virgin liveried power cars, the HST 125s. And just for those of you that don't know, Dave is a prolific model railway kit builder. He has got an enormous O-gauge layout in his shed in the garden, where it's a bit bigger than a shed. But on top of that, he builds all his own wagons, all his own locos from kits, mainly because he's got no choice, because he models in the 2000 era plus, which of course is what Heaton Lodge next year is going to be featuring. So Dave's finished the first two power cars. We're going to be looking at those in a minute. I've got to finish all the coaches. There's a bit to do yet. And then, of course, there's the GNER version, which is coming in the next few months too. But anyway, let us move on. Don't think there was anything else. So let's crack on with the video. Right, a quick update on the EWS factory. And as you can probably remember, some of you that watch the videos regularly, I've been forced to repaint quite a lot of 56s into EWS, simply because they weren't available at the time from Heaton, who didn't do them in that livery. So a few of them have gone from rail freight grey, but as you can probably tell, although I'd repainted a lot already, I kept walking past them every day. I wasn't happy with them, and so I bit the bullet and did them all again. So I've at least another 5 or 6 to do, as well as the ones you can see here. These ones have just had a blast with the old high coat primer, which is my favourite primer since Halford stuff got absolutely rubbish. So again, you know, I've taken some shortcuts because time is not on my side at the minute. So I have blasted these with the primer, not even taking the paint off the old bodies, which I know some of my friends that paint for a living will be shaking their heads in disbelief. But I've no choice, really. I've really got to keep on schedule. But these ones I've done the same. I've painted them. What I did do is spent a lot more time rubbing them down, and they've come out much better. Obviously, there's the gold stripe to add to them. And as you can see, this one I'm going to be using for spares because I put it too near the fan heater to dry the paint, and what happened? Not a very good thing. The DB Schenker 60 is just waiting for the decals, and that one is the replacement for the bent shell. And I'm going to keep it in blue because I really like that colour. So that is going to be Scunthorpe Ironmaster. I've just got to add all the glazing, which didn't come with it. That one came from Olivia's Trains. And yeah, excuse me, I'm getting on with it. These two I've got to rub down first, and I'm going to give them a blast with a high coat primer, and off we go again. This one obviously coatless, and I'm getting on with the virgin coach sides. I think I've so far done 10 coaches, which which is obviously 20 sides, and these are coming out really well. In fact, just with a blast of the primer, rubbing them down and putting on satin precision paints, virgin red, it's come out really nice, and the grey at the ends as well. So yeah, it's all coming on really well. I just kind of potter down here for the last hour of the day. It just makes a change from laying track and doing scenery and everything else. And as you well know, I've said it many times, but when you're building a layout, you just need to try and change your jobs as frequently as you can, because if you get stuck and bored with something, you ain't going to come back the next day. And I've even suffered from that myself, where I got up in the morning and I just didn't want to come in. So I'm not making that mistake again, mind. I'm just going to crack on. So there we go. EWS Factory is going upwards and onwards. And here's a quick look at both the power cars on the HS3 on the high-speed line. This section, of course, has got the gantries, or at least a couple of gantries attached. But here they are, and don't they look at home? They really do. Dave's done a fantastic job building these. I'm absolutely over the moon with them. And with the driver in there, cab lights, and of course that screen from the Paxman Valentas. And if you imagine these in an 8-car set, racing down the high-level line, as you can see in the distance, and another one coming the other way, that should be a sight to behold. But yeah, just to give you a close-up of these, Dave's just done a magnificent job putting them all together from PR MRP kits. You guys who do 00 and N-Gauge have absolutely got it made, because, of course, you can buy everything. But anything in O-Gauge that was made kind of back into the 80s or 90s onwards, you've no chance, which is why it's even more surprising to me that nobody's dipped the toe in the water with an HST, which, of course, they were built in the mid-70s. But I guess the issue with them is, of course, there aren't many layouts which can service all the coaches, even with the smaller sets that GWR did back in the day. But they still look good in a marshalling yard or in a motive power depot yard, that's for sure. But yeah, so pleased with them. I'll probably put a little bit of frame dirt on the bogies, and with 2 smoke units in, fan-assisted ones that blast some smoke out the top when they're screaming out of the station, which is just a bit further down the line, as you can see. Here we are. I'm still building this and just waiting to go to Norfolk to collect the sides of the tunnels, which are going to span these lines you can see in front of you at 45-degree angles. And then I can get cracking with laying the track on here. So yeah, HST 125 incoming. Right, details, and let's take a look at one of, well, really my favourite, if not, yeah, probably one of the favourite parts of the layout, which I kind of treated as a diorama when I built it 6 or 7 years ago. And it is, of course, the 2 tunnel mouths at the bottom of the dive under itself, the incline. Now, I'm just going to go over a couple of things that I've used to kind of make this look even more detailed, if I can get my camera between the trees. And one of the things that people often miss on tunnel mouths is the old drain pipe, of which most had them. They always leaked, of course. They didn't get much maintenance. And I just used super glue behind that drain pipe to simulate running water, and then just put a very light coating of a very dark green paint over it, just to make it look as though it's been leaking, which obviously it has. Bricks, as you can see in that corner, you can never get enough pile of bricks on a layout. They were always left everywhere by permanent way crew, or workers rather. And then this here is the relay box, which I made myself. These are dead easy to make out of thin brass strip, which you can get from a model shop. You can cut it up. I think I used 0.5mm brass and just super glued it together, cut 4 or 5 sections, obviously 2 for the doors, 1 for the back, a couple for the sides, and a couple for that angular roof. And I just super glued them together, painted, well, I actually used high coat primer to give them a blast, and then just painted it with Precision Paints dark rust. So they always look really good. You might notice the leaves as well. Now these, most of you will know, are real leaves that have been ground up in a coffee blender. And once they're that sort of size, you can sprinkle them on any double O gauge or O gauge layout. And you got them even in the summer, as you know, it's summer at the minute. And we always see leaves dotted about, even, rotten leaves. So they don't look out of place on a summer layout. Of course, we've got the track circuit detectors there, which you still see even today on today's railways, even though I think they were going to phase them out about 20 years ago. And again, they're just made out of thin card, which are cut out with a pair of scissors, and then attached them to that wire, which is just layout wire, and then ran them underneath the track. If you want to be really precise, as you can probably see if the camera can pick it up, you can glue the ends of the wires from the track circuit detectors to each of the rails, which gives it even more kind of authenticity. So there we go. We've got a bit of graffiti there. Those fences are actually made out of, let me think, very thin ply. And then what I did is cut strips of ply, and I just put a little bit, get the words out, pieces of brass wire between those missing fence panels to act as those rebars, or those bits that strengthen concrete, well, all panelled concrete fencing from back in the 70s and the 80s. So that is just basically what I have used. Again, I've got another track circuit detector there that I've just made, which is going to go on phase 2, because even though that is a bit more modern, there was still plenty of these at Healy Mills right up back in the day. Now, onto scenery. Now, I just wanted to show you what I use a lot of, and it's this stuff here, which is called Postiche. I think that's the brand name, but it's actually doll's hair, I think. And you can get it from various scenic suppliers. I think Green Scene do it, certainly Tremendous do it. And basically, it's really, really good for mimicking ground cover. So I'm going to put this camera on a stand in a minute, and I'm just going to show you exactly how to make ground cover that looks like this. So that is truly, well, hopefully, very much like a railway embankment, and it's dead easy to do if you've got the right materials and you've got the knowledge. Well, hopefully the knowledge will be provided by these videos, and you can get the materials you need. They'll pop up on your screen as and when I talk about them. These, of course, are seafoam plants. We talked about that a couple of months ago, because I've got some growing in the greenhouse. And all I do is spray these with matte varnish, and then sprinkle on either brown flock, which I have there, and then giving it a tinge of white paint because I wanted to mimic some frost. Or you can use the Earth Blend by Woodland Scenics, and you can just spray this with matte varnish and then sprinkle on the Woodland Scenics Earth Blend, and it gives you a fantastic bush at a very cheap price. It's actually, if you grow it yourself, it's really, really good as the seafoam. But it is expensive to buy. So, yeah, that's just a few things. must show you this as well. I think this is by Intentio. It's a line side hut, which I put together and then completely vandalised. I pulled the roof off, and you can see over the top there some dirty magazines in there, which of course you would always find those in the 1970s in tunnel miles and whatever. So yeah, it's just all about the detail in the model. And if you treat every kind of square meter of your layout just like a diorama, you can't go far wrong. So as I said earlier, I'm just going to pop up on the screen very quickly a list of the details that I add. I don't add all of them into a board, a 4 foot by 5 foot board, but I certainly add probably at least 50% of them. Don't forget as well the the trunking. This is just from evergreen styrene, and then I've just laid in, most of you have seen this before, then I've just laid in some layout wire just to mimic the wire, the signal wire that runs alongside and inside the trunking. But yeah, I love this scene. I just think it just oozes atmosphere, and even without a train, silence, you know, is raining at the minute, but you've still got that. You can almost imagine a 56 bursting out of here with a big MGR train. And yeah, hopefully that'll have given you some ideas, and you can use them. So let's go back to the postiche, and I'll just quickly show you exactly how to add ground cover to your layout. So let's just add a little bit of ground cover to this scene that we're seeing in front of us. And all you need is this postiche that I mentioned earlier, which you just simply tease out with your fingers. I don't see this used on a lot of layouts. A lot of people use rubberized horsehair, but to be honest, I just find it way too coarse, even for O gauge. But if you just tease it out like I'm doing now, and lay it straight on wherever you want to put it, and then all you need is some of this stuff. I'm using Rust-Oleum Crystal Clear matte, of course. Give it a shake, and then we're just going to spray it. You need to spray it so you can see all the drops of the matte varnish you've put on it. So you can see that doesn't look realistic, but when we start putting on the earth blend, the blended turf, which we are doing now, we're just sprinkling it on, and it is suddenly transformed into a load of weeds, which you would simply find anywhere where there's railway embankments, cuttings, or what have you, or anywhere that's got rough kind of earth. And it is simple, ladies and gents, as doing that. I usually give it another spray on top, and then just add a little bit more. There we go. And then we call it a day. I don't think it's too expensive postiche, but let's just move the camera, take a closer look at it. There you go. The one next to it, which I've used, the postiche here, is I've just used, what have I used for that? Just some brown flock, because obviously it's winter is my layout. But there was lots of evergreen weeds growing in the winter, so hence we're using the earth blend today. But if you want to change the colour of the brown stuff, you can easily do that and just spray on, just drop on some more of the earth blend. And there we go. It's good stuff. Don't see it enough on layouts, but yeah, postiche, doll's hair, whatever you call it, available from quite a lot of scenic suppliers, and much better than rubberized horsehair. Bit of a shorter video, folks, this week, unfortunately, but stay tuned for next week because there's a lot coming up, and hopefully we'll start laying some track on HS3 next to me just as soon as a few days. So thanks again for watching. Please like and subscribe as ever, Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week.